in healthcare, many of the uses of Ensemble today begin with messaging, with the general process of interfacing. Give you one example, which is Rush Medical Center, a university hospital in the United States. Rush originally considered Ensemble because with the prior interfacing technology they were using, they couldn't keep up with the demands for new interface needs. Even though they had many interfaces in place, new requests were coming in. It took them so much time to create each request that they were falling further and further behind. This is a classic case of IT holding back an organization, where the organizations, the enterprise, the business's need, the hospital in this case, was being held back by IT constraints. When they moved to Ensemble, not only were they able to transform those 600 interfaces into Ensemble extremely quickly, but they're able to keep up with the incoming demand. And now they've gone beyond interfacing. So now instead of simply dealing with, I need to interface this system to that system, create such an adapter, they're now looking to provide more sophisticated control by building business processes in Ensemble and not simply working at the lowest level of interfacing anymore. So before Ensemble, IT was holding the hospital back. Now IT is moving forward with business process design and allowing the kind of re-engineering that the enterprise needed and helping make that possible. Many of you who are involved in healthcare are aware of the extraordinarily large program that the UK government has in place to transform healthcare and also healthcare IT in England and Wales. This is certainly the largest healthcare IT project ever undertaken. And while we wouldn't necessarily agree with the approach that's being taken, which is one of centralizing all of the applications and taking a lot of the control away from the local hospitals and the local doctors, our technology has been selected to be used by the system integrator responsible for the biggest portion of it. CSC was one of the two, well, originally there were many system integrators. Right now there are two left. CSC is responsible to the UK government for deploying centralized healthcare solutions for about 60% of the population of England and Wales. They have built a new centralized application, and they selected Ensemble as the messaging engine to be used as the integral part of that Lorenzo application. There's another use of Ensemble in this deployment because as these centralized applications are being phased in, many hospitals and hospital trusts are still using some local applications in the hospital as well as some of the centralized applications. So they have a need to share data between the applications they still have within the hospital and the centralized applications. The groups of hospitals are called trusts. So Ensemble is used as the trust integration engine, so locally at the hospitals, as well as also being used as the backbone integration engine within the centralized Lorenzo new application. Finally, what I consider to be an extremely interesting example, as many of you know, one of the great frontiers of healthcare today is the use of genetic data in providing personalized medicine. Some years ago, Partners Healthcare in Boston, which runs Mass General Hospital, Brigham and Women's Hospital, some of the most famous Harvard teaching hospitals, and a longtime user of cachet technology. Some years ago, they extended their electronic medical record to include genetic data. It was a pretty exciting milestone earlier this year when for the first time EMR, electronic medical record data containing genetic information was for the first time exchanged between two different organizations, between Partners Healthcare and between a large organization in Colorado, in the Rocky Mountains, called Intermountain Health. This used Ensemble to implement variant wire, which is the new emerging standard for exchanging genetic data. One of the things we're working on right now is looking at two very different uses of Ensemble. Today, Ensemble offers messaging capability, event management capability, and as well as business services. And those are used in two different models. I'm talking here primarily around healthcare applications, and what we're increasingly seeing is that large hospitals or large groups of hospitals have an increasing need to be able to take medical information that may be in many different sources within their organization and push that out in a standard conformant way for sharing, whether it's government-oriented sharing or other medical record sharing requirements that are imposed on them. We have built support for many of these standards. We are conformant with many of what are called the IHE profiles, and we're looking at a new packaging of Ensemble that focuses just on this specific need for hospitals or for groups of hospitals. One of the significant capabilities that we've added in Ensemble 2010.2 is support for DICOM. DICOM is the dominant standard for exchange of medical images, whether PACS systems or RIS. And we have built now a DICOM adapter, which is available with Ensemble. Another exciting development underway at the moment is a rework of the Ensemble management system. We have a new visual appearance and new management tools for the Ensemble portal, which both simplifies the user interface, but also allows it to scale to extremely large productions and extremely high messaging rates. Cache and Ensemble are on the same release time frame. We released every version of Ensemble together with the underlying Cache version. So Ensemble 2010.2 is in field test now, and if you're interested in any of these capabilities, please contact us. Finally, in this section, I'd like to talk about DeepC, which is a tool for real-time embedded business intelligence that we introduced 2 years ago.